We were invited to come here in 1999 to do something for the children because there was no school. Some children were trying to get to school, which meant that they had to cross the road, the main road, and many of them had been killed on the road. So parents asked us to start something for the children, and that is the origin of this centre. We started with one container, and we had about 15 children. But then, once we put up a fence, fenced off a small area, and we started, there were small children, we started a nursery school for them, but as they grew older, there was still nowhere for them to go. So every year we added one class, and today we have up to 10-year-olds, because we actually don't have place for older children.
They walked around the streets, and they told the people in the streets that they must send their children to FineTown so that they can be fed. So the children smelt the soup, so they go there. The children the Salesians work with are from the streets. Some of them, they don't have homes. Some of them, they don't have parents. Some of them are 12 years old. They are the parents. So what the Salesians believe is that the playground where you play soccer is the sacred place, because in that place you meet the children as an equal. You don't talk from here down to the child, but you are the child's friend. You show the child love, you give the child security, and then you become the child's friend, and then you can lead the child very well. So the first thing Salesians do is they feed the children, because you can't tell children about God or about love or about security or about football if they have nothing in their stomach. So they begin, number one, to feed the children, to give them clothes, and then to play with them, and then to teach them in the classroom.
This settlement is about 15 years in existence. It was a farm originally, and bought by the municipality in the view of starting a cemetery here, graveyard. And while they were waiting for this to happen, people moved in illegally from countries like Mozambique, particularly Lesotho, and other parts of Africa.
Aun cuando Sudáfrica pareciera ser uno de los países más ricos en África, es uno de los países en el mundo donde hay una mayor división entre ricos y pobres. Hay una mayor distancia entre ricos y pobres. Y esa distancia, en vez de acortarse como está sucediendo en muchos países, se está haciendo más profunda.
Wherever there is very big poverty, they think South Africa is the place to be. So they come here and they think they will find work, but they don't.
I guess hoping that for a better life, that they will improve their situation. They hear that there's perhaps work here, work on the farms, and work for the women in the houses. So they come hoping to get jobs. But for many, it doesn't work out like that. Our statistics in this area are 70% unemployment.
So this is just the main house where the family lives. We've got about 19 of us that live in this house here, all the adopted family. And then when we go around at the corner to the nursery, there's about 36 different babies that are in there. This is the nest, so all the newborns are in here. And the ones who are sick, or just really look after them. In 1994, we adopted the first two boys, my oldest, and they're 14 now. And then it just started to grow. We got one more, two more, and we lived in a 4-bedroom house. But then, because 4 bedrooms not enough to look after so many children, that we eventually had to move. And then when I was 11, we moved here, and then we got more and more and more, and now today. It was more my mother. She'd always wanted to look after small babies, and I was only 6 when we started, but she asked the whole family. We had a meeting and she said we want to adopt 2 boys, and it was still 1994, so the race issue, we were just coming out of apartheid, so there was still that big race issue, and a lot of our family and friends left. They didn't want to speak to us anymore because we were adopting these babies. But we did it anyway, and I think my mom is very strong because she took a lot of criticism from people she loved and stuff like that. So she just carried on, and then we one by one we just take babies in need, and then as the number grew, so our family grew as well.
There you go. Yes, if you look right next to me. Sorry, shut it up.
Altogether, we look after about 66 kids. My oldest sister's adopted 3 of her own. She's not married though. And my eldest sister's adopted 5, and she's married. And my second eldest sister's got 3. Yes, we get a lot of. We rely completely on support from the public because we don't get money from the government. Very little if we do, and so we rely completely on donors, and a lot of our main donors come from overseas, Europe mainly, because Europe has euros, and when it converts, it's a lot of help to us. So we do get, there's lots of good people who help us, but money is always an issue. It costs about 250,000 rand a month to run this place, and so some months we're short, and we just rely on God, really. We just have faith that by the end of the month we'll have enough money.
Our population is also very affected by HIV/AIDS. 1 in every 7 people is HIV positive.
Again, statistics show that it's 80% HIV. 80%, yes. Which means that many of our children have the virus.
Estos niños van a distintas escuelas los que van a escuela porque otros no van. Es muy difícil saber quién está afectado y quién no.
It is very, very difficult for the government to stop AIDS, because part of the reason people get AIDS is because they do not believe you can get AIDS from having sexual intercourse with people. Some of them live in places where there are no TVs. There are just the radio, but if you only hear something, you don't see it, then you don't believe it.
But what happens in the other outside world is just not known to them, you know. What we're trying, we've tried, and we've had here a training program going on for a few years for the home-based care, which means that people in the squatter camp, young unemployed women, were being trained for 3 months, and then they went back into the community to work with people who were seriously ill. And that was a very positive thing. But unfortunately, the funding that was promised by the government for each one of these as they trained never materialized.
La gente convive y cambia partner continuamente. Se mueven de aquí, se mueven de allá. O las niñas se prostituyen para poder ir a la escuela.
Many of our children are without a father. Most of them would, very few. Mothers, we hear of a mother dying and then the granny figure takes over, which is the picture in South Africa today, as Bernie would have told you.
Also, in some of the African cultures, they say they can't use condoms because if you use a condom, it is like you are eating a sweet with the paper on.
La verdad es que no todos los niños, esto llega más tarde, pero si no tienen una alimentación buena o normal, pues muy pequeños ya se notan los síntomas del SIDA.
So we give them also vitamins on a daily basis. Every child gets a vitamin a day. And our children this winter, we felt that, you know, the babies, yes, got their winter colds and whatever, but the older children seem to have come through, most of them would have come through the winter without the usual flus and colds. And we put it down to the fact that we are trying to build up their whole system with good nutrition.
The Salesians try by all means in their projects to help the people understand AIDS, but we are not able to give the people ARVs because the children we are dealing with, they come and go. They don't see us in the holiday time, and so if they don't have ARVs every single day, they are damaging their system. But we do try very hard to supply them with nutrients and food supplements to help their immune system. It cannot cure AIDS, but it can help their immune system be a little bit stronger.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Wherever you go, you can feel these people have suffered, these people have
Todas las
had to
cosas
forgive
después
one
de
another.
11, casi 12 años
These people have
que
got
se
a
terminó el
new
apartheid
philosophy
y
for the
todavía
world.
vemos tanta
I believe
división.
very much.
Ya la
Well, one
realidad
little boy
dice
said
que
he's going to be
su iglesia es
president.
lentísima.
So maybe that will tell you how much
Que
they
afectó
aspire
la
to a better
población
life in
hasta sus
Jackson's
raíces.
Village. Yeah, we give our children dreams and we tell them that everything is possible because we believe that it is possible. If children are given a good start and security, which perhaps many of them lack, but we try to encourage them to think well about themselves and that they have a good future. They don't have to live in a shack all their lives.
My own plan is to sit in a chair and look at the wonderful center when it's built. That's what I want to do. I want to see the children happy. I want to see them playing sport. I want to see them growing their food. I want to see them grow up to be wonderful young people, wonderful parents. That's my dream.
Simanale oya